Okay, today let's take a look at section 8.1, degrees and radians. So today is going to be our first look at another way of measuring angles, and that way is called in radians. But before we do that, let's talk about angles. Up until now in geometry, every angle has been between 0 and 180 degrees. But in the real world, we can measure angles bigger or smaller than those numbers. We can have any number that's negative, any number that's positive, any number. Bigger than 180, bigger than 360, less than 0, could be the measure of an angle. So first let's talk about positive and negative. Positive angles, we draw positive angles by moving counterclockwise from the positive x-axis. So for all angles, you're going to start by drawing a ray on the positive x-axis. That's going to be called our initial ray. Initial ray. Remember, a ray just has one endpoint and one arrow. And then we're going to move in this fashion, counterclockwise, to draw the other one. So maybe we were drawing an angle that's, I don't know, this big right here. We would call this a positive angle. This second ray here is called our terminal ray, which means the ending ray. So initial ray, starting ray, terminal ray, ending ray. Negative angles then are drawn by moving clockwise. So again, we start by drawing our initial ray right here on the positive x-axis, but now we're going to move this way. So maybe we'll have an angle that looks like this, and this is called a negative angle there. We know this already. One full rotation around a circle is 360 degrees. But there's 4 quadrants, which are all equivalent, which means every quadrant would be 360 divided by 4, or 90 degrees. All right, so let's start by drawing angles measured in degrees. So start by drawing your initial ray. Positive 120. So we're going to move 120 degrees counterclockwise. Remember, each quadrant is 90, right? So this is 90. And then 120 minus 90 is 30. So we got to move 30 more, which is about 1/3 of the way in the next quadrant. So this angle right here is 120, positive 120 degrees. Next one says negative 180. So again, start by drawing in your positive x-axis, your initial ray. And then we're going to go this way, 180 degrees, and 180 is just 2 quadrants. So 1, 2, and this ray would be actually on the negative x-axis. And that would be a negative 180 degrees. C, positive 240, so start by drawing your initial ray. Positive 240, so that would be 90, 180, and then 60 more. So right about there would be 240. And then negative 290, so draw your initial ray in. Remember, each quadrant is 90, so going this way, negative 90, negative 180, negative 270, and then 20 more. So that would be about negative 290 right there. All right, so now talking about radians. Radian is just another way to measure an angle, okay? So a radian is just the measure of a central angle of a circle, which is equal to the ratio of the length of the intercepted arc to the radius. What does that mean? If you take this number, how long that arc is, divided by this number, how long the radius is, that's what you would get for the radian measure. Okay? So when S and R are the same length, obviously the radian would be 1. Converting back and forth is something we'll do a lot. How many degrees are in a circle? We know that already. It's 360. How many radians are in a circle? We don't know that, but I will tell you right now, it's 2 pi, or approximately 6.28. So what we'll do here, if we set 360 equal to 2 pi, and we divide both sides by 360, we get that 1 degree would equal to 2 pi over 360, or 1 pi over 180 radian. All right, and if we multiply both sides by 180 over pi, 180 over pi degrees would equal 1 radian. So that's what we're going to use to convert back and forth. To convert to radians, multiply by pi over 180. Convert to degrees, multiply by 180 over pi. And we're just going to do that many times here to practice. So in the first one, it says convert to exact radians. So if you see convert to radians, we're going to multiply by pi over 180. All right, and we're going to do that each time here. Multiply by pi over 180. Every time you want to convert to radians, you multiply by pi over 180. So for the first one, we get 45 pi over 180. And then we can reduce 45 over 180 to 1/4. So it's 1 pi over 4. We don't have to write that 1, so actually just pi over 4 would be fine. So 45-degree angle and a pi over 4 radian angle are the same angle. All right, second one. We would get 150 pi over 180. And again, we can reduce that down to 5 pi over 6. And C, negative 90 pi over 180 would be negative 1 pi over 2, or just negative pi over 2. At this point, I would suggest pausing this video and trying D, E, and F on your own. Come back to check your answers when you're ready. And here are your answers to D, E, and F. All right, now I'll convert to rounded radians. We're still converting to radians, so we're still going to multiply by pi over 180. Every time here. Every time we multiply by pi over 180 to convert to radians. All right, but this we're going to need a calculator for. Can't do this in our head because we're not going to be able to reduce 48.26 over 180. So all you're going to do when it's rounded is much easier. Just simply type that exactly as you see it in your calculator. 48.26 times pi divided by 180 and round it to nearest hundredth. We should get 0.84 radians. Part B, multiply this times pi over 180 in your calculator. Should be 0.88 radians. Okay, part C, same thing. Multiply this, negative 79.83 times pi divided by 180. And we should get negative 1.39 radians. Once again, I suggest pausing this video at this point. Type in D, E, and F on your own in your calculator and come back and check your answers when you're done. And there are your answers for D, E, and F. Number 4, convert to exact degrees. So when we convert to degrees, we multiply by 180 over pi. So multiply by 180 over pi. And we're going to do that every time all right, so the nice thing about this is that pi over pi will cancel out. So we're left with 180 over 3, which is just 60 degrees. In part B, again, pi over pi cancel out. So we're left with negative 3 times 180 over 2. Okay, you can use your calculator for that, or you can do that in your head. 180 over 2 is 90 times negative 3 is negative 270. C, pi over pi cancel out, so 5 times 180 over 3. 180 over 3 is 60 times 5 is 300. Once again, pause the video at this point, try D, E, and F on your own, and come back and check when you're ready. There's your answers for D, E, and F. And our last slide of the day, convert to rounded degrees. Again, we're converting to degrees, so we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. Every time we convert to degrees, we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. And again, we're just going to type this into our calculator straight as we see it. Okay? Anytime we're rounding, we need our calculators to help. So 1.493 times 180 divided by pi. And we should get 85.54 degrees. Part B, type in 1.102 times 180 divided by pi, 57.98 degrees. Part C, negative 2.302 times 180 over pi, negative 131.89 degrees. And for the last time today, pause this video, try the last three on your own, come back and check them when you're done. And here are your answers to D, E, and F. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, thanks again for checking out the video.